with our neighbors when it comes to generating revenue from non-residents and businesses not paying the use taxes. Without home rule, the village will continue to generate the revenue to run Franklin Park. The question is, do we want to generate it all on the residents' backs, or do you want to utilize home rule to help generate revenue from businesses using loopholes not to pay the use taxes and non-residents who shop at our stores and leave no money in their or little to nothing in our coffers, who use our streets but leave no money for the repairs? The economy has had a negative impact on the state, which in turn has had a negative impact on Franklin Park. Right now, the state tells us what we can do and cannot do to generate revenue. The state tells Franklin Park how to run Franklin Park, but does not provide any money. Do we want to continue to be limited by the state on what we can do and how we can do it, or do we want to run Franklin Park the way we see fit? We have promised to rebate 20% of the village's portion of the residential real estate tax for 3 years. We have promised to reduce the garbage fee to $5 and eliminate it altogether for seniors. You have my promise that as long as I'm a trustee, I will not abuse the powers of home rule, nor will I neglect the trust that the voters have put in me as an elected trustee to be fiscally responsible. So I ask you to vote yes for home rule on November 2nd. And as always, please shop locally. Thank you.
The next trustee is Tom Brimie.
I talk all day at work, so mine's going to be a little bit shorter. Home rule will make sure we can not only maintain staffing at our police department, but help us have the most efficient, best equipped, and best trained law enforcement possible. We want the same for our emergency and firefighting services as well. But I also believe the homeowners of Franklin Park can no longer bear the cost of all the services that we offer. Home rule will let us collect taxes from travelers who park in airport lots in our town, visitors who shop in our towns, and trucks that use our roads and use our police and fire services. To me, home rule is about lowering taxes for the homeowners while increasing our commitment to the public safety and improving our quality of life. I believe that home rule, which most of our neighboring towns already have, is critical for Franklin Park to make their own path without Cook County or Springfield telling us what to do. I ask the voters to approve the referendum on November 2nd, and I'll make sure Juan doesn't abuse his powers.
Our next trustee is Paul Bellendir.
We all have heard the expression, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And anyone tell you investment portfolio, you don't put everything in one stock like BP, Amoco, because you might get an oil spill and cause some major problems. Well, right now, the revenue source of Franklin Park is all on property tax, which means all the burden of running the village is on the homeowner. Now, a lot of us, as homeowners, we all want a tax break, right? And as seniors, a lot of seniors are on fixed income. When things go up, you don't go and get extra dollars. You're stuck with the fixed income that you have. So what home rule does, it will eliminate the garbage. It will keep providing the lawn cutting, the snow removal, and it will give you a rebate on your property tax. Now, how can you be against something like that? Number one reasons is to lessen the burden of the property tax. The board has already promised in a resolution rather, that we will not raise the taxes. We already said that. There was a lady over here who was sitting there who left, which is my prop actually, and she was the one who came to our village board and said, why don't you do this? It was democracy in action. As a result of her suggestion, the following meeting, we did pass that resolution. So we are trying to listen to voters and respond appropriately. Diversification of revenue sources will allow us to continue the fine services that the people of Franklin Park are accustomed to. We are a little bit spoiled sometimes. When you talk about snow removal, you go in Franklin Park and you drive, and then you go into River Grove or Schiller Park, and you see there is a difference. I have people, relatives usually, who say, I drove to your town, and wow, what a difference that was. Well, it costs money to do that. So we think that by diversifying our revenue sources, allowing both the retail and also the property tax, will allow us to have the revenue that we need to run our village in a manner that's efficient and strong and what we're accustomed to. And it really provides a win-win for all the citizens of the village of Franklin Park, unless I'll tell you the bad thing. If you pay $2,833 in non-grocery items a month, right? That was the number that you
And
gave.
non-medicine.
Then maybe you're losing money. But I don't think any of us in this room are in that boat. So the end result is it's a tax break for us. Thank you.
Moved here in 1944. My dad had a business in Chicago and moved his business into Franklin Park. So we've been here 70-plus years, in Franklin Park. And as a business owner, I can tell you that the taxes are absolutely atrocious. I could be in Bensonville, and my tax bill would be half of what it is in Franklin Park. So back when I took over my dad's business in 1970, and back then, the tax home rule came up, and the biggest thing that came out, everybody said, they're going to raise your taxes. And as a business owner, I said, God, I can't make it as it is. I struggle every year, and here I'm going to get my taxes raised again. All right? No educational program. Nothing was done to educate the public on actually what home rule is all about. Because I would tell you folks right now, I would have voted yes for it back then. And the reason for that is that as taxpayers, and I pay the taxes, I pay higher taxes, I pay my home taxes, I pay my business taxes. Our taxes would be less today because we would have been borrowing the money over the last 30, 40 years at a lower interest rate than what we have to pay now. So we would have better streets, we would have better things than we have. We kind of missed the boat going back in the 70s and 60s, all right? But going forward, this will not hurt you. You have the option, if we deviate off the course, then you vote us out, or 800 signatures puts it on the next ballot. It's over. We're out of here. And you put another administration in here that's going to take a better balancing of books. But I think we can do it the right way for you. And we've come a long way. There's been improvement through every administration. So I think you're at a new juncture here. This administration does need that for you to keep your services, and I think that it will work out. And like I say, all of us, if we don't live to our words, and the biggest thing that I have, please come to the meetings. This is your place. I work for you. We need your input. Just 2 or 3 people showing up at a meeting doesn't help us. We need your input. So please vote for the home rule.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Ms. Rodriguez?
First of all, good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending. Very quickly, if we have home rule, we can make decisions about our community for ourselves without asking Springfield or Cook County. Home rule will give us the flexibility to develop solutions to truancy issues, develop new after programs, and more recreational opportunities for our children. Most importantly, this board has promised and created a village ordinance legally lacking in that promise to reduce the village portion of the property tax, and our homeowners need that now. Additionally, home rule will allow our local officials to foster a business environment that attracts new companies that will not only revitalize our community but also provide quality, sustainable jobs. I believe that home rule will help our community prosper, and I ask the voters to approve the home rule referendum on November 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McLean, thank you for bringing up the end.
No problem. I hope everyone can hear me. I'm having some laryngitis. We've been talking so much about home rule. First of all, thank everyone for coming. This is a wonderful turnout, and I appreciate all the comments that have come. I appreciate Ms. Capon doing all this research. It really gives the tools to the people in the community to know what we're talking about. It was a learning curve for all of us as well. I thank Lou for standing up and supporting it. It's something that we've talked about before, and I really think that it's important that we keep our resources in our town, The revenue we collect, it goes to Cook County office, and I think that it gives us the opportunity to keep the revenue we generate, to keep it in our town for our residents. Home rule is exactly what it says it is. They are rules in which we get to enforce in our own home. And lastly, if you think about the numbers Mr. Peterson gave us tonight, if we had 206 communities had home rule, and now there's 202, that's 4 that went out, that's 2%, which means that 98% are happy with home rule. I think it's important. I support it. This is a tough economic times. I've been on the board 10 years, almost 11 years, and I've never seen it quite like this before. I'm very proud to be here and proud to stand in front of you, and I know that this is the tool that we need, not just for this board, but really for the future board, for the future mayors, and for our community. So thank you very much.